Welcome to the Feminine Mistake Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole. On today's Lady Bits, Hillary, Sarah, and I, and our special guest for the month, Jasmine Waters, we get real about some of our first sexual experiences, and we see if Fast Times at Ridgemont High passes the Bechdel Test.
Oh, you men are all alike. 7 or 8 quick ones and you're off with the boys to boast and brag. You better keep your mouth shut.
It was really, I do appreciate, which I'm going to continue to appreciate in this movie, how real things were.
It felt very real.
Yeah. It was very real, and it was very like the thoughts. I mean, like I almost convinced myself in high school that I needed to have sex with one of my really good friends because I'm like, my virginity is getting in the way of things.
Yeah.
And at 15, it's such a common thought. It's like, oh my God, there's so many guys and
you
they
think
want to have
everyone else
sex
is
with
doing
me.
it.
So like I should.
And you think it's going to change you, like suddenly
Right.
it'll solve all your problems
And yet
with how awkward you are and how uncomfortable you are with men or boys or whatever. I remember the first time not like looking away too. Like I remember looking away at what was in the room. You know,
I was an adult, so no.
I was 15.
I was 18.
I was
and we
the
made
same age
eye
as this
contact.
character. Now I was with someone who was closer to my age. It was
it
not
in a dugout?
It was not in a dugout. It was in a bedroom, and I was staring at the aquarium the entire time. But it wasn't
See,
that
even
long
you
because
got a
it
bedroom.
didn't last. It lasted less than a minute. So,
You got Poolhoused.
I got no. Actually, no. I don't know if I'm going to put this on the show, but no. He sensed that I didn't really want to do it.
Oh,
and
okay.
He stopped.
And then he stopped. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That good for him.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to do it this way. But he had been pressuring me every single
Okay,
time.
well then he's kind of also a shithead.
And but he's a teenage boy.
Yeah.
He
And then
was a
felt bad
teenage
afterward.
boy.
Was
felt
he a virgin
bad.
too?
No. He felt bad enough to be like, I don't want to do it this way. But then the very next day, it's still coming up and coming up. But
See,
that's.
I think for me, like it wasn't that I
teenagers, right?
never had the opportunity to in high school.
teenage
I think it was that I never wanted to have sex with any of the people who were offering. And
no,
like,
my boyfriend was very cute.
even at a young age, I was just sort of in that place, like, I don't need to lose this just because I have it, you know.
I thought that I thought it was something I had to get rid of.
I
me
thought
too.
that
Yeah.
when I was 15, when I first got into high school. But then I slowly started to change and realize that it was something that made me more appealing to guys. And so I was, because my friends were losing their actually losing their virginities. And then guys would be like, because I was always very open. So guys would approach me, Jasmine, oh my God, you're a virgin? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, let me take that from you. And I would tell them, it's not something to take, leave me alone. But at the same time, I had attempted having sex. Like when I was 16 and when I was 17, I attempted with, guys that I was dating at the time. But because I was a virgin and because I really wasn't comfortable with it, the area tenses up, nothing goes in.
Yeah.
And I realized that every time in those situations, I ended up relieved that it didn't happen. And that's how I knew. I was like, oh, you probably shouldn't have been doing it.
I would have had a situation very similar to this because my boyfriend, my senior year of high school, was like, let me take your virginity under the stars after prom in a park. And I was like, that sounds awful.
You're like, I don't like the outside.
I
There's
was
lots
like,
of bugs.
I was like, it's Atlanta and like May, like it's like mosquito season. And like, I just like, I can't
real
explain
sweaty.
those bites to anyone. Like, no.
I didn't want to get done. I didn't want to get broken up with.
Oh, I wanted to break up with him very badly.
I thought that if we did it, that he would not break up with me.
So I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this before, but basically the whole idea of sex her hurting for the first time or there being blood is because guys, basically that was like a way for them to be like, I don't need to do foreplay. It will hurt and there will be bleeding if you don't have sufficient foreplay. And so that was a lie that we were all told.
I think definitely with the pain, I could see that because there are ways to make it less uncomfortable. I mean, my first time wasn't that uncomfortable because there was lube involved. just to be real. Sucker slipped it. But
This
the
episode sponsored by KY Jelly.
right. A sampler pack, actually.
Get yours today.
But yeah,
Make your first time
The popping
real
of the cherry. There
slippery.
wasn't blood during, but like I went home, fell
there's no
asleep, and woke up.
cherry.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like quote unquote.
Yeah.
I went to sleep and I woke up, and there was like, it was not nice in my pants.
My sheets were a disaster.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't during the
Just a
sexual act.
I mean,
Disaster.
you know, I the second time that I did it, I would say that it was definitely a choice, and I waited like another 2 years. And not that it wasn't a choice the first time, but I definitely made it much more of a choice. And I would say that there was definitely sufficient foreplay. I was older by that time. I was 17 or 18. And, but it still hurt. I think there's like, it's like, there's so much around it. Like there's so much like built up around it. There's so much fear and
If you're clenching,
discomfort. And, like, I think it's like difficult. I'm unless you're like, I don't know, maybe if I had waited until I was much older, maybe and later in my 20s, but as a young person, like there's just so much mystery and fear and shame and like wanting to please the other person, but also being afraid. And like, it's almost like made too much of a big deal, but for the wrong reasons. Like I can't imagine how
Right.
you could possibly live up to all the things in your head and actually enjoy yourself that first time. It's like impossible.
I was just with the wrong person. Like it didn't hurt. There was no blood.
I don't think I ever felt that way personally, but my first time
went to
wasn't
Catholic school.
great. Well,
No,
I
okay.
didn't have sex in high school either.
Right.
I mean, so
Were
I think
other
my
people
experience
in
was
your
just
life
different.
doing that?
No, because I was a giant theater nerd. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think a couple people had, but it wasn't like a big deal either. You know, like I mean, we were all like pretty focused on doing Les Miserables.
I was with the theater crowd as well. Like
Yeah.
this was all part of the theater crowd.
My theater friends were major whores in high
Yeah.
school.
I mean,
and when I
they
say
were-
whores, I say that for not just females. I say that for men as well.
Right.
Everybody
They were all.
was-
It was like cross
there
contamination.
was
They
a
were
lot
fucking
of
each other.
touching.
At
There was a
my
lot of
school-
sleeping in piles.
At my school, it was the band kids that did that shit. You
Oh, the
know?
band
Like,
kids did too.
The band kids like fucked a lot at my
band
school.
kids were worse than the theater kids. I gotta
And
say.
like all the popular kids
But
were
we
just
did
like
more
fucking
drugs.
all over the place. And like two of the people that I went to school with, they got a ticket for having sex in the back of his pickup truck in like some park somewhere.
well, that's
like in the parking lot.
That's a definitively Georgian experience right there.
Yeah, it was real fun. They were in a lot of trouble. Like it was like all over the school. Like so and so and so and so are grounded. They got arrested over the weekend for fucking in a car. And like I got a detention once for kissing my boyfriend in the hallway.
Oh, come on.
I mean, there were two people in my high school that were in the theater program that got in trouble because they were caught like fondling each other in the costume room. Because like we would get sent like to the costume
yeah.
room to grab something really quick, and
Yeah.
the teacher happened to show up, and like they were groping, and they were in a lot of trouble. So much so that the girl, whenever I was told and I questioned it, she was like, "That's supposed to be a secret," and I was like,
See,
"Well, it's not."
The couch in the green room of our high school was nicknamed the Krusty Cum Couch.
No.
Shit you not, you guys. I feel like that's all I
No.
gotta say. That's all I gotta
That's
say.
crazy. I was a sweet baby angel in high school and was completely oblivious to any sex or drugs or alcohol or any wrongdoing. Not that this is wrongdoing,
No, it's-
but I'm saying I was like unaware of any of this going on.
I did my fair share of everything else on the list, but I wasn't having sex. And I don't like.
Oh, I was,
Also, that's
I was
not to
smoking the
say
cigarettes.
that I wasn't interested in having sex with some people. It was just the people who were interested in having sex with me were not interesting to me. And
I
was
didn't do
like,
any
well,
of it. I just talked a lot of shit, and I was very much so who I am,
Yeah.
except with the fact that I wasn't having sex, I wasn't going to parties, I wasn't drinking.
Then
and
I
that
don't even
surprised a
know
lot
who
of
you
people.
are.
Right.
Who are you, Jasmine?
I knew a guy that was like, what's his face? The ugly guy.
Rat?
Don't you stop doing that to Rat.
No,
Rat
no,
is
not
appealing.
him. Not him.
Oh,
you're
the
talking
other
about
one, Mark.
Damone,
Damone. He was kind of like that. Like he talked a big game, and then one of the most popular, hottest girls like didn't propose. I'm sorry. She propositioned him, and he was like, "I'm saving myself for college."
Anyway, so Stacy and Mark go on a date. She puts the moves on him real hard. He gets uncomfortable and leaves. He almost goes back in the house. He doesn't. She seems to feel really
Well, he doesn't
rejected.
when he sees that she turns off her light, because she also inexplicably has the first bedroom inside the door with the window that opens to a flower box on
That
the
you can
front of
step
the
on
house
to get out of the window. It was so
because
convenient.
her parents want her to be murdered in the night.
or sneak out. I think now's a good time to bring this up. There are no parents in this movie at all.
Oh no, they
Not
do
at
not show
all.
up
No.
once.
Not at all. Her parents
I
are
think
always
that's
out of
the
town.
point.
It's the
Also,
perspective of the kids.
it is
Yeah.
the perspective of the kids.
But I think
again,
it also
wanna-
shows that parents are kind of absent.
Yeah,
at a
I would
certain
like to
point.
bring up that in this, I think in the 70s and 80s, you had
Latchkey.
this, you had a transitional period where women were going back to work, or women were going to work or had to work, but there was not a real good system in place for childcare. So especially,
Is there now?
no, now you just pay out the ass for childcare, but you can't leave the kids home anymore because
They
the
might
cops
get
will come.
murdered.
Yep.
No, well, the cops will come and take
That's
away
true.
from you.
The neighbors will call the cops on you.
So you still have the same problem. It's not really super fixed. Although people
Yeah.
have things like childcare shares and things like
Yeah.
that, but it's still a big problem. But in the 80s and 70s and 80s, their solution was, once your kid's about 8 or 9, you just hang a key from their neck and they go home by themselves. So I think that although this movie is about the kids, I think the absence of the parents is very felt in the sense that these kids are kind of parenting themselves, Okay. So
My note
Let's-
was Stacy's friend isn't worth a damn. I like Linda.
Linda tries.
She was like,
Linda
"Dump
tries.
Mark's ass if he's not gonna have sex with you."
Well, they're putting on makeup. And they're putting on the face masks. Well, I think Linda's giving her encouragement.
I think it reminded
Yeah.
me of he's just not that into you when friends tell you things that are myths to make you feel better.
But I
And
think
I'm
she
like,
believes that stuff.
Oh no, she definitely does because
Yeah.
she's like 16, so she was into it. She was like, "Yeah,
Trying to
no."
look,
he's
I
not.
wrote down how far into the movie that was. Let's see.
It's on my second page out of 3, so it's pretty deep in.
I want to say this was about 41 minutes into the movie, and the reason it is 44 minutes in, and they're putting on the face mask. The reason I want to bring that up is because it's 44 minutes in. We'll talk about the Bechdel test, but the movie still has not passed the Bechdel test at this point.
Nope.
We won't get, and let's leave that there and not get any more deep into it. But there's a lot of scenes between these women. They're only talking about sex and guys the whole time at this point.
Yep.
Should we talk about the Bechdel test? The Bechdel test. Should we talk about the Bechdel test?
Yes.
And we'll talk about the Bechdel test as well. Okay. Are there 2 women in Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Yes.
Yes.
Do they both have names?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do they talk to each other?
Oh yes.
Do they talk to each other about something other than a man?
No,
I don't think so.
Nope.
Not once.
Not a single
Not a
one.
single time.
And I was paying attention this time.
I was too.
Oh.
There is not a
God.
single scene
No.
where, because it's mostly Stacy and Linda. They do not talk about a single thing that does not have to do with sex, penises, vaginas, men, boyfriends. Nothing.
Orgasming.
Yeah, none of it. And it's not even like they're talking about masturbating orgasm, because then that could be construed as being a conversation about something that doesn't have to do with anything. No, it's all about. So no, Fast Times at
Yeah.
Ridgemont High does not pass the Bechdel test.
Not at all.
Bummer.
Bummer.
Didn't expect it though.
I
Sex
did. I
comedy.
thought they'd at least have a conversation about fucking ice cream or something.
Since I thought this movie was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I definitely had different
there
expectations.
there
for
is
it.
not more than one female. Well, there are 2 female characters. They don't talk to each other. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller.
Bueller's
Yeah, I
Day
don't
Off.
think
It does
so
not
either.
pass.
But I just didn't expect it to, because
I mean, even in
also
the
thought it was
pizza
Ferris
place,
Bueller's Day
even
Off.
in the pizza place, I mean, there's a line where she's like, "Oh, another summer at the pizza place, I can't handle it." But nobody talks. Nobody has a conversation about that.
But isn't
She
her
says
response
it-
there? But oh, but it's fine. We can look at all these hot guys. Look at
Exactly.
you. And it's like,
Exactly.
ugh.
Yeah. No, there's not a single conversation that
All
does
you had
not
to
have
say
to
was
do with guys.
"Yeah, I fucking hate it. If I have to put the Parmesan cheese in these shakers one more time, I swear to God, I'm gonna burn this place to the
I'm
ground."
gonna fucking
All
murder
you needed
someone.
was that one line. Would have counted.
Nope. Doesn't pass.
But nope.
So
Real
how about
emotions are left out.
Yeah, well, they can't. They have nothing else to talk about, apparently.
What else do ladies talk about?
What
Periods?
do we talk about?
Oh, yeah. If we had a nice conversation about a period, there you go.
Or lack thereof. Because she's pregnant.
Yeah, well, that is... I
Or
do find that
pregnant.
weird that her and Linda... I mean, they do talk about Damone, but I find it weird that her and Linda didn't have any conversation about that pregnancy. But
They didn't talk.
No.
All they talked about was how Damone was a prick about for not showing
Yeah, I
up.
think they skipped over. I think there was a decision to skip over the actual conversation and go straight to Linda's reaction to what was
Okay.
said.
it seems weird, though.
Oh
that she
yeah,
didn't
no, I
tell
guess
her.
she did talk to her before the abortion because she. What Linda says is,
All he had to do was...
I told you to make him pay pay for it.
You're right. They did have that conversation.
But it's still about a man because he got her pregnant.
Right, but I mean, they did talk about it before the abortion. We just didn't see that conversation.
Okay.
So the Bechdel test. Let's see. Are there 2 black characters in this movie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Only.
Do they?
No,
No, there's more.
There are
There's
three
There's at least 3
black
with names.
characters that can. Well, there are 2 with names.
Yeah.
3 that have lines.
Do they talk to
Holy
each other?
Not once.
No.
Oh, no.
So that's a no on the Bechdel test.
They talk about each other to white people.
They appear in the same
next
scene.
to each other, but do not speak
There's not
to
one
each other.
line that's
they
like
speak to Spicoli.
I don't understand how 2 siblings can stand next to each other and never speak.
Mm-mm.
Weirdest thing.
Yep.
Happens.
Yep.
But we don't know what they talk about when they're alone.
What do
Black people
What do
think.
black people talk about?
What do black people even talk about?
I mean, I want to write a scene for black people, but I just don't
just
know
don't
what they're
even know
going to
what
say
to
to
say.
each
I don't
other.
have that perspective. I need someone else with that perspective, Jasmine. That's why I need to hire you.
I want you guys to know that black people don't exist when white people are around.
Oh my God, you guys just
I
disappeared.
knew it.
That's what I thought.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Like when white people don't exist anymore, neither do we.
Oh my God.
Right.
That makes
wow.
so much sense.
That's why they don't talk to each other.
That makes so much sense.
It's like
magic.
It's like a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it. Does it exist? No.
Right. If
I
2
don't
black
think
people
so.
talk and a white person's not there.
There to hear it doesn't even really happen.
No.
That's terrifying.
All right, this is getting really now. This is a sci-fi show that HBO should pick up. It's like The Leftovers, but with black people. The Black Leftovers.
It's just still shots of like black people sitting in the same room silently, like looking at each other, like
Just waiting
Just
for
shaking their heads.
a white person to enter.
It makes me think of like
white people
Pleasantville.
enter, they both stand up, like thank God.
Like
to say
Pleasantville where
something
he's
so
like
bad.
wiping the counter and it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. You didn't come.
Yes.
All right, so that's does not pass the Bechdel test or the Bechdel test.
But there's a
Sorry.
3rd test that we need to. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know where I was going to go with it. Okay, so
Are
I'm
there
gonna,
2 white men in the film?
Yes.
Do they have names?
Yes.
Do they talk to each other?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do
About
they talk to
something
each other about something
other than
a woman?
women and black people.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, it passes, you guys. It
God.
passes the Steve test.
Damn it, the Steve test.
Damn it, Steve.
Damn it, Steve. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's Lady Bits. Thank you for joining us today for our mini episode. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more about our discussion of the film Fast Times at Ridgemont High, please take a look at our full-length episode where we discuss the entire film. To find out more about what our special guest this month, Jasmine Waters, is up to, you can check her out on Twitter or Instagram as Real Life by Jazz. That's with a Z. And you can also see her on Critical Crop Top's Vimeo channel in the film Bad Day. That film is written and directed by Hilary R. Heath, and it also stars Andy Fleming, Brian Ashton Smith, and myself. So go to Vimeo, check out the Critical Crop Top Vimeo channel, and you can see Jasmine Waters in that film, Bad Day. You can also see Jasmine in our upcoming Critical Crop Top Live sketch show. Performances will be October 21st and 22nd. More information coming out about that. So if you are not following us on social media, now's a good time to hop on board. If you want to talk to us about this show, the Feminine Mistake Podcast, you can find us on Facebook at Feminine Mistake Pod. You can also find us Critical Crop Top. That's who we are, Critical Crop Top. You can find us on Facebook there, Twitter, Instagram, as at Critical Crop Top. So, tell us what you thought about the film Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And, of course, rate, review, subscribe to the show. If you have enjoyed the show and you'd like to leave us a review on iTunes, we would really appreciate it. And we might even give you a little shout out on the show. So thanks again for joining us on the show this week. Next week will be our last week talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Jasmine Waters. But till then, you can send your nervous breakdowns if you would like us to read one on the show. Send that or any other correspondence to femininemistakepodcast@gmail.com.